I'm Carole Thorpe-Gunner and I'm a member of Shropshire Folk, and thank you to the Community National Lottery Fund for letting us make a series of films about Shropshire and the folk therein. Today we'll be making a swan, a wax swan, as you see, and the wax swan, oh, there's a little feather that's blown away. The wax swan is made from the wax that surrounds Shropshire blue cheese. So what you have to do is eat all the cheese first, maybe with bread or apple, and then cut it into little bits like this, and then squodge them up into sort of an egg shape really. And what we're going to do, here's another one I made earlier, so we have two. What I'm going to do is tell you why we're making swans. There is a story about Wild Edric, or Eldric, and he was a Shropshire lord, and he lived more than 1,000 years ago. And he lived on this territory. He lived on Long Mountain, where we are now, and all around Shropshire. But one of his big houses was at Condover, just down the road there. But it was called Wild Edric because, and what we're doing here with the swan is making a sort of flattened egg as we go, and we're going to pull out the neck. What Eldric why he was called Wild was because he loved to get on his white steed and dash off hunting into the forest, and that's what he did one day. And what happened was that he heard singing. He came to a clearing, and in that clearing there was a cottage, little cottage, and he got off his white steed and he peeped in through the window. And what did he see, naughty Eldric? He saw 7 beautiful maidens. So far we've got the neck coming on here, and we've got the wings being pulled out. We've got a little tail coming into place here, like this. And he looked through the window, he saw these beautiful maidens, and there were 6 dancing around the most beautiful maiden in the middle. And that maiden was the princess of the fairies, and she was called Godda. And he instantly fell in love with Godda. And he ran in and he grabbed her, very macho, and he ran out, and her sisters who were dancing and singing with her, they all turned against him with claws, and he ran and he jumped onto his horse and away he rode. And he thought, I want you for my wife, I've fallen in love with you. Poor old Godda, she was taken to one of his mansions, it may have been Condover, and what happened was that she sat and watched him for 3 days and 3 nights. And she watched him and she thought, I quite like him actually, he's quite a nice fella. And so she didn't complain too much, she felt very happy in her mansion with him, with Wild Edric. He treated her very well. And after about 3 days, he said to himself, I need to marry this fair maiden. And he got on his knees and he asked her if she would be his bride. And she said, I will be your bride, on condition, you can make a little head now, it gets a bit tricky, but you can just play with this wax, it's absolutely wonderful stuff to play with. She said, I will marry you on one condition. What is that? Eldric said. That you never ever criticise myself or my family, my sisters, you never criticise them, because if you do, then I'll be off. You will never see me ever again. I said, no, I would never criticise them. So Fair enough. Right, okay. We shall get married, said Princess Godda, the beautiful Princess Godda. The swan's coming on now. Try and keep that nice sort of boat shape. Think pedalos, swan pedalos really, because you can put a little bit of something like here. We've got a ring inside. That's Godda's wedding ring actually. And we've got a little bit of Edam covering wax to make the beak here. And so anyway, back to the story. Godda was happy for I think 3 years or so. They lived happily, and then she used to go and see her sisters, you know, regularly, most days, and she'd go off to the clearing and spend time there, and very happy, and Edric was happy. And one day, I think that she was back a bit late, and he must have been in a bit of a mood, because he said, well, where have you been? You know, I've been waiting for you. And she said, well, I've been with my sisters. And he said, oh, not that family again. You're always at your sisters. And Godda just looked at him, and he knew that he criticised them. He should never have said anything. And she vanished, just went. Some say in a white mist, some say as a swan, and that's why we're making the swan today. You could make a white swan with candle wax. You could make a red swan, Edam. You can make green swans. You can actually send off for wax from flints or tarantis online if you do want to explore with the wax, make all sorts of things. And so that was the story of Godda, and he loved her and he lost her because he didn't keep his word, which was such a shame. And I think that we'll finish there. All you need then is to use a little bit of the red wax, and you can use a little button for eyes. Stick those in, little eyes here. If you want to put a ring in, you can collect feathers. These are like signet feathers, but you can collect white feathers. And I'll just show a picture of Godda, which I'd made as she's turning into a swan, and this is made of felt, but it would take rather longer, so I can't do that now. But looking forward to seeing you in a month's time and carrying on with the story of Wild Edric. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.